All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Joe Henry, and thank you for visiting my website. Unfortunately, it has become desperation time. And as I look myself on this computer making this video, I never thought that it would have gotten to the point where I was going to have to physically speak to people to get them to read what I've written. If you are one of the few that have visited my website, I appreciate you taking the time. I know reading something about a world that looks different than what we have today can be overwhelming. However, I, at this point, need to tell you that I need you to read it. I need your help. I need to get it out there before it's too late. The piece is a political piece, as you will find out. I won't ruin any of the surprises as far as who I believe would have the ability to make our future different. And unfortunately, a president as important as they are, isn't going to change our future by himself anyways. And the story is about how we, as the people of America, need to stand up for ourselves and recognize who our real, not enemy is, but what the real problem is. And what it is right now is corporations um, feeling the pinch and holding on to the money that they are worried that isn't going to be flowing in the future. And unfortunately, they're not wrong because anybody that's trying to make a living right now knows it's not flowing right now. I have spent 6 months writing this story, dedicating every minute I had to it, and I need to start making my money for my family. And as of yesterday, I can't even find work for $10 an hour, and that's doing construction, something I've done my whole life. That I'm very good at doing, not bragging, but I can pretty much do anything you ask me to do. Um, and $10 an hour in Massachusetts is a slave wage, if I could use the term without insulting anybody. Which brings up another point. I am white. I can't be any more white, and there's no hiding that, and I don't try to hide that. However, there is a large somebody on television on the Oscars said that one day we will look at the color of our skin the same as we do our hair color, and that is it will be a completely irrelevant thing. And they're right, because at some point there won't be white and blacks, there will be a mixed race. That's what the world will look like if we survive for 200 years. Which right now we're also worried about next year. We don't realize that what we do today is going to impact us 200 years from now. Now, I'm not the perfect speaker. I haven't written anything down. I'm just doing this on the whim to get this out there because today I will be tweeting and emailing and trying to get people to jump on board with this. But again, I can't do this myself. My family literally, loving family, great family, took care of me perfectly growing up, but have a hard time accepting that their son, me, has the ability to change the world because most people can't. And that's one of the biggest problems we have right now. There's a huge drug problem in America and across the world, and part of my story is my recovery from my drugs. A pill, Percocet. That was it. Never touched heroin, nothing else. Just $200,000 worth of Percocets to deal with the depression that I had after working through the financial crash of 2008 for an investment firm, answering phone calls 10 hours a day, talking to worried people like you and me about what the future looked like. And that was in 2008. And after that, I said, no more of this. That's not my future, even though I went to college and someone said, you're great with numbers. That's your future. You can make a lot of money. I realized money wasn't what I wanted. I wanted to make a difference, so I went and taught. And I taught sixth grade math. And unfortunately, at that same time, something took over. I realized now it was depression, and it led to a divorce and some bad decisions. And I learned a lot through those experiences, which has put me here today, which has enabled me to write what is in front of you. So, without wasting too much of your time, I just want to give you a little quick background. It was April 1st of 2015, so last year, that I wrote a story about hope and change and about what was wrong with the world, and the fact that all this drug problem that we have isn't the problem of individuals, and we're asking individuals to change and overcome and um, just say no, which Nancy Reagan was an amazing individual, but just saying no when the world brings you up to dream and to believe that you can make a difference through our, education system, and then to deal with the real world that dreams aren't coming true. And I would venture to guess that 9 out of 10 people listening to this right now either don't believe they can make a difference in the future, aren't happy with what they're doing, um, want something better, but they don't know how. And they, a lot of them have given up even trying to figure out how. And to those people that have given up, if you don't use drugs, I ask you to just understand why the people that do use drugs use them. Because you know what? A lot of them are huge dreamers. People with vast potentials to do amazing things, but they're living in a world that doesn't let them do those things. Which brings me to the books I've read in preparation to write what's in front of you now. The Success Principles by Jack Canfield was a book my wife got for me, my second wife, that brought new meaning once I had started to take a shot called the Vivitrol shot, which blocks opiates and alcohol from entering my system in November of 2014. So from then on, no matter what, I was going to have to deal with life. I couldn't get high if I wanted to. I couldn't take a blue pill if I wanted to. I couldn't have a beer or anything if I wanted to. Now, a year and a half later, I am still taking that shot, as not because I think that I would go back to drugs, but just because if this story works, I want people to know about that shot. And believe me when I say I haven't used drugs, because I haven't. In April of last year, my family, when I wrote that story, threw me in a psych ward because they thought that I was crazy. Because they thought, you know what, you're bipolar, you're too manic. This idea that you can change the world is a manic episode. And you know what? I did some crazy things that when people wouldn't listen to my story. So you know what? I believed them. I believed I was bipolar. Maybe I was crazy. So I went back to life. I swung a hammer, but at the same time I read and I studied and I wanted to know what was up with me. So the next book I read was Monkey Mind, about anxiety. And it made me realize my anxiety was real. It wasn't made up. It's something that I know exactly what triggers it. And I won't go into details, but I know exactly the people that make me feel anxiety. So I wanted to control it, which led to my next book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, which talked about meditation and controlling your mind and what you think and paying attention to how you feel at the moment. Because most people worry about so much, what they're going to do, what the future looks like, worrying about what they did, whether it was the right decision or the wrong decision. So that was a good book. Got me meditating and got me slowing down. Then I read Chasing the Scream. Awesome book. Talked about drugs and the drug war and how we've been going at it the wrong way, which I highly suggest reading that book. And I'm not going to go into any suggestions right now, but hopefully reading my story, you'll realize that what we've been doing isn't working, and there is something that we can do that is a lot better. And then, so I realized, so how do I do this? Unfortunately, resources, money, isn't something I have. I can't go out and just change things. So I wanted to know if I could create a business that's primary goal is to use the profits it made to help make the changes I dreamt. So I read People Over Profit. Good book. Talks about how corporations are recognizing that they need to give back more, but it's just a small percentage. And I think 7% is a good amount of revenue to give to charitable organizations. And these companies are still making huge tax breaks, paying CEOs huge amounts of money. And I don't want to start any wars or fights, because that's not how change is going to happen. People need to recognize what's going on and decide for themselves what they want to do. And then that made me realize, how are people going to realize what the right thing to do is, which I went looking for a book, and literally Altruism by Matthew Ricard. I can't even say his name. I've never met him, except he's probably the most inspirational person to me right now. talked about what altruism is, which you'll find out during the story, so I won't talk much about that. Then I realized, okay, who's done it before? What have they done? How have they done it? So I read Walt Disney. Mr. Disney, how did he do it? He was a dreamer. He created something out of nothing. And then I came up with the idea of changing my story into a superhero story. Something like Superman, Batman, the Avengers, something that had the ability to create a revenue stream that would be enormous, that would create billions and billions of dollars for someone like me to do the things that they dreamt would change the world. So I needed to understand the history of superheroes, which made me read Superheroes by A Brief History of Superheroes by Brian Robb, which made me realize that ordinary people like me, people that, actually most of them were writers, but people that didn't think they were going to write something that made the biggest difference in the world, they just wrote because they believed in something and they created something. Well, I realized that was me. And I've been swinging a hammer. I've dealt with finances. I'm a very well-rounded individual, if I can say that. But right now I'm just struggling to survive. And today I need to tweet and email and try to get my message out there because time's running out. And Eminem, an artist that I listen to a lot, and a singer that there's a lot of controversy around, has been a huge inspiration to me as well. And he says, fuck it. For everything I've been through, I shouldn't be here right now. I might as well make the most of it. And that's what I'm doing. And I appreciate you taking the time to read this if you are so inclined, and then you'll know what you can do to help. So I look forward to seeing you. If it doesn't work and I disappear, then again, at least I tried. And just so you know, I am sitting here on March 9th at 9:15 with my computer in front of me, CNN on the television. Oh, I thought it would have spun easier. Having to watch another day of people just talking about things that I think, unfortunately, are irrelevant if we really want to make change. So hopefully you take the time and read what I wrote, and if there's anything you can do to help, you'll know how to either tweet me or email me. I haven't literally gotten anybody to follow me on Twitter. I haven't gotten any responses from people. I don't know what people think, except for the real bad haters. I think I got one email from a Trump supporter saying, I'm an idiot, but I don't think they read the whole story, but it is what it is. All right, take it easy. Thank you.